Welcome, everybody, to another special Weekday Wagers with me, Mark Wallis, and our soccer guru, Mr. Charles Meschell, the man from the Dirty Dirty. We want to jump into the Europa League that we have matches coming up for this Thursday. Charles, let's kind of start. I know a lot of people probably saw our Champions League video. When fans hear about the Europa League, I know a lot of times they often think of it as the tournament just a step below the Champions League. How true is that? And what kind of teams and storylines make it unique in its own tournament?
Europa, it definitely is the lower teams, but usually a field there's usually 18 to 20 teams in a league. So these are generally 5 through 7, 5 through 8, depending on the league, how big it is. So it's a little bit stepped down, but still, they're still quality teams. So there's nothing that can be held against them. You can have a great team that just has an off season and they find themselves in the Europa League. Plus, the Europa has plenty of benefits. You can find yourself right back in the Champions League by winning the whole tournament. So it's people think it's a step down, but it's still quality teams.
And do you think that teams can really kind of use this tournament to springboard into their, the domestic leagues that the clubs are playing in to really kind of give them a step up and make them a better quality team?
That and some teams that are not doing so well in their domestic league can look forward to the tournament in order to still get into another tournament the following season, because you have to finish that within the top 7 or 8 in the league in order to qualify for European competitions, period.
Okay.
If you win in this tournament, you automatically get a bid into it next season. So you take a team like Tottenham they won it last season, but finished low in the EPL. But by them winning that, they got a bid into the Champions League, even though they really didn't belong. So, yeah, there's definitely gold at the end of the rainbow for these teams.
Okay. And I know we talked about it a little bit in the Champions League. It's seeing an uptick in goal scoring. What have you kind of seen as far as the Europa League, or what do you anticipate as far as goal scoring? Do you see that same upward trend, or do you think that this is going to be a little more defensive?
Definitely more goals, but what I've seen is the Champions League has had a little bit more goals. The Europa has been a little bit lower. Europa Conference has had a little bit lower. You're still getting the goals, not as many, but if you can find the right spots, you can definitely take advantage.
Well, speaking of right spots, I know you got your eye on a couple games. These games are happening on Thursday, correct?
That is correct. Thursday.
Well, let's start with Salzburg and go check my notes.
Go ahead, Eagles.
Go ahead, Eagles. That's why I was trying to remember the name of the city they're from, and I was like, go ahead, Eagles. I was drawing a blank. Why are you watching this game?
Well, Red Bull Salzburg, they're from the Red Bull Enterprises. So this is one of their teams. Believe it or not, they're invested in soccer teams worldwide. So this is their one out of Austria. And this team has been a really good team. They're responsible for a lot of young talent. They produce Erling Haaland is one of them that come through their farm system. So, but for whatever reason, they're kind of struggling this season. They failed to win a game in the Europa League. They generally are always contenders. So they're definitely going to be the more desperate of the team. And it seems like they've kind of found their footing. They've scored 16 goals in their last 4 matches. So I definitely expect there to be the Salzburg to come out the more desperate of the unit. Go ahead, Eagles, Dutch side. This team comes in. They had not been a part of Europe for 92 years. They've come in and they've won 2 matches. They even knocked off EPL side Aston Villa their last time out. Okay. So this is like a Cinderella story if we've ever seen one. And they're sitting 12th in the table. So they're right there in contention to fight to progress or even go through those knockout stages. And they've been scoring goals also. They've scored at least 2 goals in their last 2 matches. So it should be a good match for goals. But at the end of the day, I still think Salzburg are going to be the more desperate side. I think this is a letdown spot for the go-ahead Eagles coming off that big victory against Aston Villa. You couldn't get any higher than that beating an English Premier League team.
Right,
so
right.
I think this is a potential letdown spot for the go-ahead Eagles. Salzburg should have enough to get this victory, but at the same time, I do think we can see goals.
Now, you mentioned a couple of things. I just want to kind of touch on it. So, for people who are just kind of trying to get their feet wet into European soccer, from a betting standpoint, what is the cutoff as far as this is a kind of like a round robin tournament, correct? Europa League is still kind of a round robin tournament.
That's correct.
And they take the top, how many teams? 8, 10?
Well, it's it's the same format as the Champions League. The top 8 teams make it automatically, and then 9 through 24 they battle it out in a round robin to get the next fields in the top 16.
So, do you find like for both leagues, whether it's the Champions or the Europa, that these initial kind of rounds really, really favor the favorites, I guess is the best way I can ask that question. Do you see that the favorites typically advance, and then when those 9 through 20 are really fighting it out, you see a lot more desperation and teams taking a lot more chances than they normally would?
Yeah, the top teams from the bigger leagues are always going to have the advantage, especially at home. But you always get these scrappy teams in the midfield also. So there's always that desperation. Like I said, this Red Bull Salzburg, they may be in a lower league, but they're a big brand and they're used to winning. They're always in Europe every season. You're going to, if you follow tournament soccer, you're going to see this team in one of the tournaments. They're usually in the Champions League. They usually win their league in Austria. So this is kind of a step down for them to be in the Europa League, but definitely home teams, bigger teams, they always have that advantage.
Well, I'm going to tell you this next game, I got all excited about because I do know about this team. And let's talk about the Red Star Football Club from Belgrade and Lille, correct? Am I saying that correct?
Lille, that's right.
See, I know.
Yeah.
I know why I like Red Star.
Yeah.
Why is this game so interesting for you?
You probably know Red Star from basketball also because they have their basketball team. But if this is if you've ever seen their stadium, if you need to just go on YouTube and look at the way that the visitors have to walk out to the field, or shall I say the pitch, it's just a crazy, crazy, crazy atmosphere. And if any team uses their home pitch advantage, it's other than Bodo, it's Red Star in Serbia. They definitely use that. Plus at home, they absolutely dominate their their league competition. They average 14 goals at home, and they're another team who have failed to win. They're always another one that are a part of European competitions. They're usually a part of the Europa League. They're a fixture, a part of the Europa League. Every once in a while, they'll get in the Champions League, but they're usually a fixture in this or the Europa Conference. So I definitely think that they're going to be extremely desperate in this when they're going to want to put on a performance in front of their fans. But Lille is a top competitor, and no doubt they're going to be take a lot of money as the favorites. Plus, they average 2.14 goals on the road. Lille are just scrappy. They're another one that are usually a part of the Champions League. They tend to finish in the top 4 of the League One. So them kind of going to the Europa League is kind of a step down for them. I can see them snubbing their nose and not taking this one seriously. I think Red Star could actually come out, and I think a draw at worst. We could see this one. I'm expecting some goals. It's another one I think at worst we could see a 2-2, but I expect Red Star to give them all that they could handle. I wouldn't be surprised if they score in the first half. So Lille better be on their P's and Q's because they could get caught off guard.
Look, I do know one thing. Listen, Charles mentioned it, but do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube, search Red Star Football Club, and you can also look at the Red Star basketball and just watch what the crowd does. They intimidate opposing teams better than any mob movie I have ever seen as far as intimidating witnesses. These guys, they call them Red Star for a reason. There's red flares everywhere. Yes, even at the basketball gym, inside the basketball gym.
Yeah, imagine that flares in a 50,000 seat stadium.
It does look very reminiscent of like a California wildfire in some of the photos I've seen. So yes, do yourself a favor, go check it out. It's absolutely crazy. And Charles, I know that We've covered the Europa League. I know that you're probably going to have some official plays on the Europa League for Thursday. Where can people find those plays for you?
I'm actually I've transitioned to my Patreon page, but the easiest way is to go onto X at ROI Capper One. You can find all my information. I have it pinned to my pinned on my homepage also. Plus, I'll put out a promo post for the champions and the Europa Leagues. We've absolutely been crushing it. I make it very low cost, economical. That way, you don't have a lot of overhead, and you get your maximum returns on your investment.
And listen, there is nobody who cashes to the extent and rate that you do. Full disclosure, I have always thought, Charles, that you were a time traveler and that you would just jump ahead, come back, put out some plays, and sit back and just rake them in. So I have been on record as saying that more than once.
Appreciate it, sir.
No, listen, you are the best at what you do, my friend. With that, listen, be sure you tune in every week. We will have new videos on soccer leagues coming up every Monday. So to kind of get your week straight on what plays and what leagues you should be looking at and targeting. But for Charles, my name is Mark Wallis. Thank you so much for joining us here at Weekday Wagers. Be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Take care.